Number 8. Ashlyn Murphy. On the afternoon of January the 12th of 2022, Irish primary school teacher and traditional musician Ashlyn Murphy was jogging along the Grand Canal outside Tullamore. Two women who were running on the opposite bank then witnessed Murphy being attacked by a man wearing a black tracksuit and black sneakers. They ran to the nearest phone and alerted the authorities, who upon reaching the scene found 23-year-old Murphy unresponsive, with injuries consistent with a violent assault. Investigators determined that the young woman had fought for her life and tried to use her keys against her assailant before she ultimately succumbed to strangulation. In the immediate aftermath, police arrested 39-year-old Romanian man Radu Floricel, who'd reportedly been out buying milk in the area at the time of the killing. He was mistakenly connected to it through CCTV footage and partial witness descriptions. Floricel was extensively interrogated before he was released the following day and subsequently cleared of any wrongdoing. He later spoke to the Irish Independent about the toll the terrifying experience had taken on him and his family, as his sister, who reportedly struggled with mental health issues, had been arrested for refusing to leave the family home after it had been deemed a crime scene. Another man was then identified as a person of interest after he'd showed up at a Dublin hospital with unexplained injuries. On January the 19th, he was revealed as 31-year-old Slovak national Josef Puška and charged with murder. That evening, Puška was brought to Tullamore District Court, outside of which he was heckled by a large crowd, inside of which he was met by Murphy's family holding framed pictures of her. Puška's trial date was eventually set for June of 2023. The case prompted a national conversation on the topic of violence against women, particularly given the context of Murphy's murder. She was fatally attacked while running along Fiona's Way, a passage named after Fiona Pender. The woman, also in her mid-20s, had disappeared in the area in August of 1996, while she was 7 months pregnant. Today's featured fan shout-out is Instagram follower Illogical Minara. To appear in our next video, send us your pic, rocking the latest merch from theywillkillyou.com, and send it in to us on Instagram today. Number 7. Pamela Devitt. A California woman was mauled to death in May of 2013 while running near the desert community of Little Rock, about 40 miles northeast of Los Angeles. 62-year-old Pamela Devitt was attacked by a pack of dogs, which was later determined to have consisted of 2 mixed breeds and 6 pit bulls. A witness passed by in his car as the dogs were still tearing into Devitt, and he tried honking his horn to get them to stop before calling 911. The first deputy that arrived at the scene was charged by one of the animals, but it eventually fled after the law enforcer opened fire. Devitt succumbed to the injuries she'd suffered in the mauling while en route to the hospital. The dogs, suspected to have carried out the attack, were impounded from a property nearby, where a 29-year-old man was also arrested on suspicion of cultivating marijuana. A spokesperson for the Los Angeles County Supervisor subsequently proposed enhanced enforcement on the breed predominantly involved in the attack, telling NBC4, "These pit bulls are killing machines. They're different than other animals." Number 6. Debbie Irkihart. Australian personal trainer and bodybuilder Debbie Irkihart was running on a bush track near Westerfolds Park in Melbourne when she was attacked by a massive kangaroo. The incident took place in January of 2017, and it left the woman covered in blood and with multiple injuries. Looking back on the attack, Irkihart reported that the kangaroo, which she estimated stood at over 6'5" inches, came at her suddenly and without provocation. It struck her like a truck with its back feet and knocked her to the ground before clawing at her body as she screamed and struggled to defend herself. Irkihart feared the kangaroo was going to kill her during the minute-long attack, but it eventually left when she stopped screaming. Injured and rapidly losing blood, Irkihart hobbled about 700 feet to get home. Her husband, who subsequently claimed that the woman looked like she'd been through a mincer, took her to the hospital. She was given dozens of stitches and emergency surgery for a torn bicep, a ripped deltoid, and deep scratches to her back and buttocks. Irkihart recovered but claimed it was unlikely she'd return to the jogging track where the attack had occurred. Number 5. Mollybbetts. 20-year-old former cross-country athlete Mollybbetts disappeared on July the 18th of 2018 while out for a run in her hometown of Brooklyn, Iowa. A massive search effort was launched in the aftermath and lasted roughly a month, over the course of which local authorities obtained footage of a Chevrolet Malibu following Tibbetts while she was jogging. They connected the vehicle to 24-year-old illegal Mexican immigrant Christian Bahena Rivera. He'd entered the U.S. in his late teens and had been working at farms in the area, identifying and receiving his paychecks under the name John Budd. Upon being interrogated by investigators in August of 2018, Rivera confessed that he'd followed Tibbetts, whom he thought was attractive, in his car before he got out and started running alongside her. The woman rejected his advances and threatened to call the police. Rivera claimed that he'd blacked out for the events that followed. Upon purportedly regaining his awareness, he saw Tibbetts' earbuds in his lap as he was driving and remembered putting her in the trunk. After his partial confession, he led the police to her body, hidden under foliage in a Poweshiek County cornfield. Tibbetts had been fatally stabbed in the head, neck and chest, but Rivera claimed he didn't remember doing it. In the ensuing legal proceedings, Rivera drastically changed his version of events in 2021. Upon being called as a witness by his defense during his own first-degree murder trial, he testified that he'd been kidnapped from his home by two masked and armed men who'd forced him to drive to where Tibbetts was jogging. One of them allegedly knifed her to death and put her body in the trunk of Rivera's car, threatening to harm his daughter if he didn't cooperate. Rivera then supposedly hid the body and didn't initially go to the police out of fear. The man's revelations held little weight in front of the jury, who found him guilty of first-degree murder, for which he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Number 4. Kate Smith. Kate Smith, a 23-year-old woman from Essex, England, revealed in a Facebook post from May of 2021 the physical injuries she'd suffered following an attack in Castle Park, Colchester. Smith had been running in the park and at around 10 p.m. 3 men charged her when she briefly stopped to change the music on her phone. After they wrestled Smith to the ground, one of the men sat on top of her while another slammed her head into the ground. There were no other people in the area but the young woman, who later told a media outlet, "I can hold myself in a fight," managed to push back against her attackers and then run away. The assault left her with a swollen eye and cheekbone as well as scrapes and bruises on her arms. Smith, who shared her story to warn others to stay away from the park at night, received thousands of messages and comments of support following her post. Number 3. Simone. A jogger from Melbourne, Australia, was the victim of a brutal beating in early January of 2022 while running through the McAllister Oval in Parkville. The man, who only identified himself as Simone, later reported that a couple had confronted him about maintaining social distancing, demanding he stay away from them and their 2 children. Simone told a media outlet that he hadn't been near the pair when they started berating him and calling him a danger to the community. As the woman talked to Simone, her partner charged him in spite of the distancing concerns he'd ardently expressed just moments prior. The attack was captured on cell phone video by a passing cyclist. The man, labeled a deranged father by local media, kicked Simone, then clinched his head and kneed him in the face, causing him to drop to the ground. He then delivered further kicks, knees and stomps to Simone's head as he was bundled up. Throughout the attack, the man's partner asked him repeatedly to stop and tried to pull him off Simone, as the youngest of the couple's children was heard crying out for his mother in the audio. The jogger, although shaken up, survived the encounter largely unscathed and, according to local authorities, didn't press charges in the aftermath.
I was so far away from them, and this guy deliberately hit me without any reason. It was pretty brutal.
Number 2. Thomas Stanley. 33-year-old Thomas Stanley was taking part in the Flat Rock 50K trail race at Elk City Lake Park in Kansas in late September of 2019. As the competition progressed, unexpected storm clouds started gathering above the ultra-marathon runners. Stanley, a father of 3, was only about a quarter mile from the finish line when he was struck by lightning. Nearby racers, including a doctor, stopped to administer CPR, while spectators got in their cars and picked up other competitors to shelter them from the storm. In spite of fervent resuscitation attempts, Stanley was pronounced dead at the scene. The race's organizers later announced his tragic passing and also paid tribute to the fallen marathoner, writing, "The chances of being killed by a lightning strike are about 1 in a million, and Thomas was truly a 1 in a million guy." They recorded Stanley as a finisher in their final results and presented his wife with an award. The woman, also a runner, wasn't there on the day and had been waiting to hear about the race at home with their children when the tragedy occurred. Number 1. Tomokaliga Tiger Invitational. On March the 26th of 2022, the Tomokaliga Tiger Invitational in Kissimmee, Florida, became the site of a brutal assault involving runners taking part in the competition. A video shared numerous times online showed the runner in the lead being punched from behind by another athlete. The victim received no help after collapsing on the track as the others, including his attacker, continued running past him. Irate spectators could be heard expressing their outrage at the incident in the viral video's audio. Neither of the students involved was identified, but it was reported that they'd had an earlier confrontation. The race leader had shouted at the other athlete, who wasn't reportedly taking part in the same 1,600-meter race, to move out his way during a previous lap. He'd refused to do so and was consequently pushed by the race leader during the lap that followed. In retaliation for the push, the other student chased him down and delivered a forceful blow to the back of his head, leaving him with a concussion. According to an update from early April of 2022, the victim's family intended to file a civil lawsuit against the other student and the invitational event's organizers. The family's lawyer stated that initial claims made by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office of them not wanting to press charges had been false. The legal representatives alleged that the authorities had threatened the family their son would be arrested for battery as well had they chosen to file criminal charges. Thanks for watching. For 1 mile, would you rather pull an SUV or run barefoot on very hot sand? Let us know in the comments section below.